Hello, welcome, good morning. How are you? Happy Wednesday. You
Hasta
found
mañana.
it. Hasta mañana.
That means see you tomorrow.
No, it's good morning. See you in the morning, I think actually is what it means. But anyways.
Oh,
It's fine. Hi.
Oh, it is see you tomorrow. Sorry.
I mean,
Hasta-
are you? I can go. It's really pretty.
Sorry.
What's
You
hasta
can dip.
luego?
Let's see you
See
later.
you later.
What is good morning?
What's
Buenos
mañana?
dias.
It's mañana.
Buen dia.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
We speak Spanish, among other things.
That's so racist.
I'm Amy Beth. She's Allison, and he's JP, and you found the right side. And we're so happy you're here. We have much to discuss today. We have a guest at 11:30, Troy Miller with Religious Broadcasters. He's a big deal. Okay.
I don't
And
know why he wants to keep coming on here.
I don't either, but we're happy he's coming on. We love to talk to him. He has an article we're going to discuss about. Well, I'll tell you that later. It's on my phone, but I don't have it pulled up. And then there's a lot of news, a lot. We're going to cover that news as well. But first, before we do any of that, before we get to hot flash news and even the 3, and who knows if we'll have time for that. Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Buenos dias.
Sup, right tards?
Would you care to tell our friends why?
This is the best story ever. And Will Ainsworth is probably going to kill us for having this conversation
Yeah,
because
I'm
he
saving
didn't
it.
actually say that.
he did.
But we went to an event last night, which are we going to talk about?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, we can.
It was so much fun. But Will Ainsworth walked up to us and said, I missed the whole thing. I don't know who I was talking to, but I didn't hear any of this. Apparently, he said, "What's up, right stars?" JP heard, "What's up, right tards?"
And then he looks at me and he goes, did Will Ainsworth just say, what's up, right tards?
Well,
But I love it. I'm going to adopt
Yes.
it because we have libtards and then we have right tards.
yeah.
And he doesn't even know he created a thing, but I'm going with it.
What's funny is we were in our circle talking, and I see Ainsworth across the room, like catch us, like look at us, and he immediately starts walking over to us. But about halfway through, he's smiling, like he's smirking, like he's about to say something funny, and he just comes up and he stops and he does this with his hands, and I just hear, "Hey, right tards." And my jaw dropped. I was like, that's funny, but did the lieutenant governor just call us right tards in front of everybody?
I think it's appropriate.
It was
And
hilarious.
then JP's very calm and whispers, did he just call us right tards?
I did. I like tapped tabs on the shoulder. I was like, did he just say right tards? She goes, I think he said right stars.
Here's what I hate about going to events with y'all. And I don't know what this means. I miss everything. Y'all don't miss a thing. Y'all see everything. You hear everything. Like, I hate that I missed that because that would have been a highlight. It's like missing somebody that falls down in the middle of the event. Like, I would really appreciate that. But I'm glad y'all caught it because all last night I kept giggling about us being right tards. And I think it's maybe a t-shirt or something.
It's like, look, I know you're going into retirement, but try to have a little bit of class on your way out, Mr. Lieutenant Governor.
We're not going to invite you on for Wednesdays with Will, even though
Yeah.
you named it and you do it with other people. But no, you're off.
See,
you're off for saying stuff
no,
like that.
makes me want to have him on every day because I think that's funny.
But then that happens, and then I start talking to somebody else for about 30 seconds. I come back into the conversation, and Will is saying to you, y'all got to have Jamel Brown on the show. I'm like, what is going on?
Actually, I really do. Y'all aren't so sold on that. I really want to have Jamel Brown on the show. We'd have to have about a 26-second delay
Yeah.
because not sure what would come out. But the way Will Ainsworth trolled all the Democrats, and some people
Oh.
didn't get it. Some people didn't get the troll, but posting a photo with the leading Democrat nominee in Alabama, Jermaine Brown, is that right?
That's good.
I mean, pretty solid.
So It was a beautiful event last night.
Yellowhammer had their big event down in Montgomery that they do every year. I mean, we've never been invited to it. But this year we made the cut. It was so nice. The venue was beautiful, and I just thought it was really well done.
Super classy. They had taupe roses, Mom, taupe and cream roses.
Why didn't you point those out? I didn't see them.
Well, Susan DeBose and the table of legislators, beautiful legislator ladies, were having a convo. I met somebody that I'm pretty sure were cousins through Chris's side, but I'm just
Jenny
going to
Shaver?
claim it. Oh my word. Oh my word. And then I was like, the flowers, their flowers are even beautiful. It was an exquisite event. It truly was. The doors were flung open. People were spilling out everywhere. Courtyard in the, U shape or, rectangle, but open in Ravello in downtown Montgomery. If you haven't eaten there, the food is outstanding. It's Italian.
My goodness.
Never been there.
So good. I went with
Well, it's
my
not fair.
sister-in-law and her husband and Chris about a year and a half ago. Top notch. But it was a great event. It was great to see so many of our friends. We saw Jeannie and Shannon and Annie, who's an up-and-comer, and Scott Stadhagen. There's another story there.
Can we tell that story?
Can we?
I laughed
don't
about
know.
that all night too.
That made me giggle.
Yeah.
That's what made me giggle when I got home.
Yeah. But I mean, who else was there that we got to talk to? Jenny Shaver,
Garland Gudger,
Will Ainsworth,
Steve Marshall, Jared Hudson.
Let's see, who else was there? Katie Britt.
Yep.
Who else am I missing? Cindy Myrex.
Cindy Myrex was there. There were so many people. Derek Chin was there.
Oh, Caroline Dobson.
Yeah, Caroline, how could we forget? But a lot of familiar faces. It was good to connect. And you realize no matter what, like you say so often, and it's so good to keep in mind when we are talking about politics in Alabama, remembering we're talking about policies because you meet them as people and they're humans. But it's the policies, I'm not talking about Republicans, would be the same way with Democrats. No, several think they're great. We differ on policies, but to just be with people outside of the halls of Montgomery was refreshing and a great way to spend an April evening.
It's fun.
I'll say I've never been to Ravello's, but I think I had 5 things of finger food, and they were all amazing.
Oh, okay. So you haven't had like dinner there. You just, every time somebody came by with food, I was like, JP.
No, I was
I
like,
would
And it
send
had
them your
meat.
way.
okay,
Yeah,
the
They had the
best.
skewers.
I think I was staying next to Amy Beth when I had the best one, the little pork tenderloin. It like fell apart in my mouth, and I remember I ate it, and I just go, and Amy Beth's like, "Is it good?" I was like,
probably should have grabbed a couple, but they looked great. I think they have that like pork chops on their menu. I can't remember, but it was just great.
Yeah.
It was great to be together. And it's going to be fun when we ride down and back together and dream up other ways to have more shenanigans. It was great.
Dale Jackson was there.
Oh, that's right.
Dale.
Dale-
Yaffee was there.
Mecca.
Mecca
Music.
What a
Love
name.
her.
That is the whole time. Like it took me 6 months to find out that was her actual name. I thought it was her
Yeah,
nickname.
No, she
That's-
said it was her
Like,
given
her
name.
mom. Well done, Mom.
Yeah, it's great. Also, Brad from Crimestone just texted in and said Phil Williams is spitting out his coffee right about now. Under Phil's tenure, Rightside Ruffians. Under A&A's tenure, Right Tards.
That's right.
A&A.
Brad.
I like that.
A&A.
I'm sorry. But that's appropriate. I mean, Phil is so professional and so put together,
Yeah.
and we just are not. So I think it works.
We do our best.
I mean, we can be. We really actually can be.
We do our best.
There's some times where I'm like, wow, we did really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I kind of embarrass ourselves.
Well,
It's okay. We did get lots of comments last night about our reel on Pete Hegseth's toot. People are paying attention to his toot, and it became a topic of discussion.
It actually did. Y'all
Were
amaze
y'all
us.
mortified when I brought it up with Steve Marshall?
Yeah, that was
No,
one of the first things you
But
brought
then,
up.
he was there for the conversation. You know, he didn't run away or act like
No.
it didn't happen.
No.
And then he told us his own funny story.
no, Steve. Okay, I,
mean,
can't say that, but
yeah.
yeah.
So it's look, we'll just have to have a Rightside event, and we'll regale you with stories that we'll have to put your phones in those secret phone bags and really just have convos with you.
Like a Faraday bag.
That we need a
Yeah.
Faraday bag event
Block out all the things.
and just talk.
Well, there's what do y'all want to talk about now?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Allison Sinclair, because, well, I can't go to it on the thing, but there are, JP, can you share your screen and can we look real quick
what is it?
before we get to the montage? What is trending on Twitter?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because some days we'd be surprised. And as we're pulling this up and we're going to look at what's trending on Twitter, we also want to build time in today, once we go through the montage, to talk about a really important discussion. And it's being had all over the place, but I was sharing with Allison and JP that my pastor preached a sermon. This has been about 5 years ago, about who has a seat at the table and influence and power. And it might as well be the believer who does, because somebody's going to have a voice. And so why are we criticizing the people that we like who do have a voice? And how does that relate to the whole campaign season? But how does that relate to us in general at all? And so I really hope maybe at 11 o'clock for just a second, or maybe even before then, we can have that discussion, because it's an important discussion. I think perhaps we might consider reframing how we think about money, how we think about business people, how we think about our opportunity and opportunities that you have, and the importance of using your voice in any way you can. Or do we not think that's important? And do we want everybody else to do the heavy lifting?
It's going to be a good discussion. What time's our guest coming on?
11:30.
Okay.
Troy Miller, Religious Broadcasters.
So we can do 11.
Yeah, we can do that. You know what? Let's ask Troy.
He is really smart. And he knows so many people. And I want to know how the convention went that we should have gone to.
Do you think
the
we should go up to Nashville and just visit with him?
I
think we should.
mean, maybe he'd let us in his office. I don't know.
Well, maybe if we asked nicely, we asked Grace, she may let us.
She may let us. Okay.
I feel like we need to have a meeting with him.
Well, I can't wait to hear how, what is it? The National Religious Broadcasters Convention went. There were so many people there that we love. So we'll check up on that. But I think what you said about, what is the role? Well, we'll get into it. But in politics, how do influential people that have money, that God has given money to, and there are people that don't know Jesus that have lots of money, are they allowed to be in politics as well? Because we look down on, and there are several articles, like Barry Moore came out defending his cryptocurrency donations from Fair Shake. Steve Marshall put out kind of simultaneously a statement saying, outside Alabama influences are upset that they can't buy me off with all this outside influence money. But Barry Moore gives you a very different perspective of why he's taking this money. So it's a conversation that's out there, not only forefront in the media, but also kind of in the shadows that people are having. So I think we'll do that at 11.
Okay.
We need to get to it.
Okay. What do we have on Twitter, JP?
So we're going to go to the news section.
Okay.
On Twitter. So this is like the top 5 stories on X right now.
I need my glasses. I can't
JP,
read
that
that.
is so
Can you
small.
blow it up?
Where's
I
my-
can try.
where's
I
my
still can't
glance?
see it.
Can you tell us?
How's that?
That's good.
Who's Jennifer Siebel?
Jennifer Siebel Newsom's. That's his wife.
Oh,
Prison
Oh,
story
she's still talking?
draws sharp criticism.
Have y'all seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's in my hot flash news. Do you want
It's
me?
the top.
She
killed her
ran
sister.
over her sister.
Hold
Oh
on.
my gosh, we have
What?
to play this.
Let
Can
me-
you play? Can you go down?
What?
Wait, what does Tim Burchett have to do
I don't
with
know
it?
anything about this.
Oh, this is crazy. Play it from the beginning. We'll go ahead and do it.
About my own loss, where I lost my older sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blame myself for her death. And I share that because that they ultimately were accused of committing these violent crimes and sentenced for life. And I think it shocked them that this, blonde lady who was, interviewing them had a similar story, was perhaps in the wrong place at the wrong time, but wasn't punished the way they were, because clearly it was an accident, but theirs was probably an accident too. So anyway, I share that just because I guess, I quite enjoy spending time with people and being real and unmasking and showing them that it's safe to unmask themselves.
Beautiful.
What did she do?
I mean, I had
Okay.
It says she accidentally backed a golf cart over her 8-year-old sister when she was 6 in Hawaii. The incident ruled an accident with no charges filed.
But go back to what she's doing. She's talking to prisoners at San Quentin prison who are in there for heinous crimes. And she is trying to draw a parallel as a white rich woman who accidentally backed over her older sister and killed her. Wrong place, wrong time. And saying that these mass murder rapists, whatever they're in for, were in the wrong place at the wrong time too. And it was an accident. But she didn't have to go to prison because she's blonde and hot. What? There's so many things that are wrong with
That's
that whole.
hideous.
What's your okay? First of all, if you're in San Quentin, is that really what you want to hear? Well, if I were blonde and cute,
Yeah, it's true.
and then to be so, they're accused of assault and rape and murder and all these things, and you're giving them an out
Because maybe it was an accident. What?
Annabelle. Whatever.
Red Rob, Red Rob. I mean, the whole thing. She's so
Wow.
And then we got to take our kids to Alabama and see racism.
Yeah, that because it's only in Alabama.
We went on a trip all summer.
Oh,
Took them to all the racist places.
and for the second though, you saw her for a human being, and you're like, I would like you, except you've made this whole thing about you. But for a glimpse, you see her, and you're like, just be you, without making it all about you. Like, be the human underneath there that's about to cry. We feel that. But the idea that you're giving murderers and rapists an out so that you can feel better about yourself.
Also, this technically isn't a hyphenated name, but the Jennifer Siebel Newsom. Jennifer Newsom. That's a red flag. You
It's
can
a red
never
flag.
trust a hyphenated
No.
name or
No hyphenation.
one that doesn't take
No.
her husband's name.
Here's 60 Minutes. I saw that.
His high speed rail, y'all. I mean, that actually would have been pretty cool. I thought it was pretty pointless, but it's up to $126 billion in costs, and they haven't even. It's basically a dead rail system. Like, it's not going to happen.
It's a rail to nowhere
Mhm.
for $126 billion so far.
Complete bait and switch and government waste.
Mm.
80 miles. I mean, it's crazy. California.
This one right here is in the montage, but it's crazy. Mayor Mondani pretty much in a speech, really, it's going to be in the montage, but we
Okay.
can just go ahead and play the clip real quick.
About how your administration removed DEI language from the racial equity report that you released this week. Why was that decision made, and do you support that decision?
So I want to be very clear. Our administration inherited a report that the prior administration had refused to release, a report that had been heavily diluted over many rounds of revisions. We took the time to strengthen this report to ensure that it was actually an accurate reflection of the city that we all love and know as our home, and to actually release this report within the first 100 days. Now, in this report, what we've seen, it's a report that is both coupled with a true cost of living report, is that the inequities in this city, the racial inequities, are stark. We are talking about findings that have shown that the wealth of a median white household in the city is more than $200,000, while that of a black household is less than $20,000. This is not an indictment of any one New Yorker. It is an indictment, however, of policies and politics that have persisted for far too long. Our commitment now is to act upon these findings, to do so in concert with New Yorkers' comments, as we've now opened a public comment period for the next 30 days to ensure that we have a city where we are reckoning with the long history of racism here and starting to act upon a framework that puts equity right at the center of it.
Equity, equity, equity.
I'm confused. The reporter said you took DEI out of. Did I miss that?
No, that was the question. I guess they reframed the language.
That'll be a good discussion.
All right. Well, so why?
Equity, equity, equity. They love the word equity
So tired of this.
because of the long-standing history of racism in New York City. Yeah.
When this is kind of like when Catherine Robertson came on, when we were talking about, you have to achieve unity status. We still have these 1960s desegregation federal orders in so many, I think 40 of our schools in Alabama. Like, what? Give me your goal. Give me your line in the sand of when we will not be racist anymore. And then just keep that line. But they can't. They keep moving the goalpost. I mean, what? When you make $40,000, or is it just when you beat white people? Maybe that's it, actually.
That's it.
But this is so exhausting.
And think about how badly that whole DEI concept and construct has infected the church. How badly that's infected, for example, sorry to say it, the Southern Baptist. Not all of them, but many of them. So we're having this discussion, and we should be able to talk to our brothers and sisters in Christ, but some of them have bought into this notion that it should be equitable, and we should apologize to half of me for what we've done. Like, it's insane. Meg Basham lays that out really well, but this has infected the church even. So we're not just talking to the world going, what do you mean when you say equity? What do you mean black versus brown? This is just envy dressed up with pretty words, and it sounds good to one group of the population, but it's not real because you guys started it. Like Democrats, you started it. But even among our churchgoers, people don't realize it's affected them too, and they think this way too. That's a problem.
Well, you've got the government enforcing it and the church just, saying, yeah, you're right. But what if you're a white person and you make, or a brown person, not even black, and you make less than $20,000? Do they not? If you want to have that discussion, let's do that. There are people in the city whose, standard of living is way below poverty level, and we need to help them all achieve their best. I can get down with that. But you're basically saying if you're white and make less than $20,000, good luck. We're not going to support you. When we come back, we'll do the montage and lots more news. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Right Side. And let's be honest, this is the moment you've tuned in for, isn't it? I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair. JP's keeping us together today behind the scenes, but we're thrilled and honored to be joined by Speaker of the House, Nathaniel Ledbetter, and Chairman of the Alabama Republican Party and Representative Scott Stothagen from Hartselle, Rainsville, right?
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
Rainsville.
I'm Rainsville.
You're Hartselle.
It's good to be
Okay.
here.
I wish we had more time to tell you that my dad used to moonlight at the hospital there, and I got to spend the night in the little call room. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's safe to say a lot has happened over the last couple of weeks, and this might not be what people expected, is the two of y'all sitting down right here with us. Talk us through how we got here.
Well, certainly good to be here with you guys. Thank you for having us, and certainly good here to be with the new chairman of the party. And Scott and I have had a lot of discussion over the last week since he's got elected, and he certainly has my full support. I think he's going to do a really good job, and look forward to his leadership. And I think he can bring the party together in a way that maybe somebody else couldn't. So I congratulate him on that position.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you guys for having us on. I think it's an exciting moment from here for Alabama with the House of Representatives, our caucus, and the party coming together, and looking forward to the work that we're going to have going in the future. And it's exciting for tomorrow.
Talk to us real quickly about the party for now. Does it feel united behind you? Are you feeling good about where you're going and how everybody is lined up behind you? Yeah,
absolutely. So we have already hit the ground running. Matter of fact, yesterday we had a meeting with all the county chairmen, kind of seeing what their needs are and what's working, what's not working. So we're literally starting from the bottom, working our way up. But the biggest thing is a team, like we have with our caucus, working as a team, and then we're going to unite that gap between the party and the legislature for us to work together, because we're all Republicans, right? So I think it's going to be a very interesting, unique situation. I'm looking forward to it.
Talk to us, if you would please, sir, about the caucus and where everybody is right now and what you guys would like to do over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the caucus is in a good position. I mean, we had a very good meeting last week, and we just need to go forward. That's what we told the caucus, and now's the time to move forward, and they're doing that. We'll have some strong legislation coming up today. The closed primary passed out of the committee, so we'll have it on the floor Thursday. That's a speaker's pick. I'm going to pick it for Thursday, so we'll get to see it on the floor. So I think we got a lot of good legislation out there, some of it in the Senate that we've passed through the House, some of it vice versa. So certainly got to get the budgets out. Passed the ETF off the floor last week. Look to get the general fund the week after spring break. So we'll kind of finish up some things we got going, but it's going well. I think the people of Alabama will be proud of the work together with the House and the Senate, with the governor's office. So we hope to continue that and look forward to finishing up strong.
I'm curious, this question is for both of y'all, so you'll have to pass the mic back and forth, but whoever wants to answer it first, how do you view what is the proper role and partnership between the caucus and the party? There's been lots of debate about that, how much influence each should have going forward. How do you feel about the relationship?
Well, I will say, Scott and I have talked about that already, and he's got an idea that I support of getting me and the pro tem and the governor-elect together and sitting down and looking at some bills that we can all agree on. I don't think we've ever done that before, Scott, and I think it's a smart idea and gets us all on the same page. And I think that's being really proactive and trying to choose legislation that not only the party would like, but the people of Alabama.
Yeah, really excited about next quadrennium and next session, just to see us come together and work together as a team, because we're all Republicans. We have the same beliefs, right? So having that with legislation and party coming together, and hopefully, the bill package that we present to the governor, pro tem, and the speaker, we get that through, and we're really going to have like a Republican day at the Capitol, and we're going to have all the state executive members there, and that night hopefully celebrate. And it's going to be a celebration for Republicans throughout the whole entire state, and I'm looking forward to it. So, and as far as our caucus members go, they're Republicans, conservative. We're literally one of the most conservative bodies in the United States. So we're hand in hand moving forward.
Speaker Ledbetter, this question is for you. We kind of talked to some people because over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of discussion about leadership. There's been some transitions about some of the, asking people what the main complaints against leadership or you in the speaker's office specifically. One of the issues that came up repeatedly was just the push for gambling, which I think is just kind of across the board. One person said, though, that too often the priority seems to go to bills backed by special interests or those closest to leadership rather than allowing a fair, open process. Hair looks good.
Welcome back.
Not today. In that video from the State House, my hair looked good.
Your hair looks good right now.
And this is why I'm skipping out on the show tomorrow. I gotta go get it did. It's looking rough.
Look, if we ever need a giggle, my friend brought me this hat. Everyone, she's like, "Do you still like them?" And I'm like, "I love hot dogs," but you know how we say hot dog water?
So
It makes me happy.
that's actually a really cute hat. I don't know what who
apparently
makes a hat that says hot dogs.
Well, there's another hat that says butter, and all the young girls are apparently wearing hat with like words on them that we think are funny, but it's a whole thing apparently. But I'm so old now, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. But she knows I love hot dogs because we were newlyweds and then young parents together. And well, they had already been married. I was a newlywed and growing into being a young parent, and we had a discussion on hot dogs, and I ate hot dogs a lot. I still like them. I don't care what you tell me. I still like them all beef.
How are hot dogs?
I just anything I don't like, I just.
So anyway, I'm sorry for that diversion, but I think your hair looks good. And if mine falls apart, I'm putting on the hot dog hat.
So are you going to be extra blonde tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever thought just like go into your natural?
Which she also looks super hot with dark hair too.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
I've been through every color of the rainbow, I think. I tried to go red one time. That didn't work.
No, you're not a red.
It was like an auburn.
I think I kind of remember that.
It was not.
The kids were little.
It was bad. It was really bad. And then I went really, really dark. It's how I exercise my rebellion, and it drives Jared insane. He's like, for the love, just stick with one color. I'm like, well, I could be out drinking at the bars. I don't do that. I just change my hair color. But I think I've stuck with blonde, even though it's fake.
It looks good.
Go with it.
It looks good. I wish I could be blonde, but I tried that one time. It looks very bad.
Not
Not meant to be.
No. Your
No.
melanin says
Redhead. I've done red a little bit. I dabbled with that in high school, but
no. I dabbled with that in high school.
Yeah,
And
you're
then
not a redhead, Abs.
nope.
None of y'all
And
are.
also want to let you know that I swam. I was on the swim team. I would have been a swimmer in college if I had been given the chance, but I wasn't. And I was one of those kids that my hair turned green in chlorine. So I had to use fanciful cream rinse like old ladies did when I was 9. So I've been scarred by the whole hair color experience. And we're just going to stick with Hershey Bar Brown.
That's where you're from.
Like your brown. Thanks.
Like my brown roots.
You can't see them. What do you mean? You can't see them.
Yeah. Y'all won't even recognize me tomorrow.
And what? This is her reward for winning the March Madness. That she gets a hair day off of the show.
Yeah. What are we going to say when I need a hair day?
You can go. It's that important. Like I would do it, but it takes forever to reschedule. And I scheduled it before we changed the showtime. And so now I'm like, I mean, I did win 2 brackets. So
Well, I did. It did take me 2 extra weeks to reschedule from my girl.
that's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Okay,
JP, you wouldn't know about that.
No, I don't.
your hair looks great, JP.
I thought I was having a good hair day.
Yeah, it's particularly good today. Okay, it's time for the news.
Michael News.
That includes 10 separate points. Some of them include the U.S. guaranteeing a non-aggression pact with Iran, continuing Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance that Iran can enrich uranium for its nuclear program, removal of all primary sanctions on Iran, removal of secondary sanctions, an end of all UN Security Council resolutions against Iran, an end to the IAEA's resolutions on Iran's nuclear program, compensation payment for Iran and its war damage, withdrawal of U.S. forces from the region, and a ceasefire on all fronts.
People of Iran, what are we going to just leave them there? There's nothing that we can do and we're going to wash our hands over that? That to me is morally very difficult to accept.
The inequities in this city, the racial inequities are stark. We are talking about findings that have shown that the wealth of a median white household in the city is more than $200,000, while that of a black household is less than $20,000. This is not an indictment of any one New Yorker. It is an indictment, however, of policies and politics that have persisted for far too long. Our commitment now is to act upon these findings.
I didn't know that it was legal to marry a first cousin.
Well, in a lot of states, it's not. Florida needs to get with the program on that one. It's obviously part of cultures that are antithetical to American values.
I actually had a special guest that asked that I give him a phone call, and we'll see. Let's hope he actually answers. But this is going to be very embarrassing. All right.
I'm sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
That's funny.
And then didn't he call back? And
I think he eventually got him.
Donald was like, hold on 1 minute. I'm really busy.
Yeah, he was like,
Give me a sec.
he's like, JD, can you give me 1 sec? And then he heard the crowd and goes, oh, wow, what a crowd you have there, JD.
That's good. That's good.
But I thought it was funny.
Really embarrassing.
Sent straight to voicemail. And the Ron DeSantis clip, I just thought that was also funny, crazy. That
So
was
you
last
can
night.
marry your first cousin in Florida.
Apparently.
Can you still do that in Alabama?
I
thought
don't
it
know.
was third cousin.
Okay. When you type in, can you marry, the top search is, can you marry your cousin in Alabama? What a disgrace.
Stop.
And it says what?
Yes, you can legally marry your first cousin in Alabama.
What?
Alabama law does not prohibit marriages between first cousins, and they are permitted to wed without legal restriction.
All right, legislators.
Yeah, maybe next session
Can that be the right side bill? Ban first cousin marriage.
the right toward bill.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, have you seen the Amish?
Well, and then if you look up,
Sorry.
can you marry your cousin in Florida? I said yes. Marrying your first cousin is legal in Florida as early as 2026.
All right, listen.
Wait, what?
So as of this year, I guess. Let's see.
So they're going backwards and like not getting it off the books. They're putting it on the books.
It says as of early 2026, it's legal in Florida, and there's 16 to 18 states where first cousin marriage is permitted.
Okay, listen. Ron DeSantis is the only governor that I've heard brave enough to address what first cousin marriage is about. It'd be interesting to find out if it was off the books or on the books, then off the books, then back on the books again. Something that's slid in there quietly, because when Chris and I got our marriage license, it asked if we were cousins closer than third. And we joked until, of course, we found the family graveyard in Little Oak, Alabama, and there are Dickinsons and Shavers next to each other. And but I'm adopted, so it doesn't matter. So it'll be very interesting to trace the origins of that, but I appreciate Ron DeSantis calling it what it is.
You think it goes back to the Muslim community?
It does go back to the Muslim community. And how long have these seeds been planted? Think about Tennessee. We've talked about this before. Voting for or against, was it cousin marriage there as well? I think we talked about it last year in the fall. So here we are. And Ron's the only one that can say, actually, this is antithetical to what many of us believe in. It needs to be banned across the board, because I bet you Michigan is wishing they had banned first cousin marriage.
Well, you know, it's also legal in California, New York. I'm seeing Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont. So it's not just a Southern thing. It's just California, New York are two of the places that it's legal.
Well, that makes sense. Looking at this, I think the way that reads is as of early 2026, it's still legal. Yeah,
Okay,
because it says it goes back to the 1800s when, really 18th, 19th century, where marrying your first cousins helped preserve property land and family ties. So that's why they did it, but they have not taken off the books. Because I was thinking, he's the governor. He could veto the bill if it was passed in the legislature. So anyway, Well, come to Alabama. You can have a vacation cut and marry your first cousin.
It's a fun place to be.
Woo!
Can we talk about this ceasefire?
Yes, please.
You want to change the subject, JP? You don't like that subject?
Pivot.
Yeah, let's pivot.
So, yeah, the ceasefire. I have a question before we get it. Why are you giggling?
Because this ceasefire is so bad.
It's a really bad one.
Who are we negotiating with? Because isn't their supreme leader like incapacitated?
He's in a coma.
And so are we negotiating with military leaders or the leader of the country?
Trustworthy Pakistan, Allison.
And are they the same? Well, I mean, somebody from Iran has to agree to the ceasefire. So is it actually, if it's not your supreme, like, do you see what I'm saying? Is this legit?
Yeah, I mean, whoever is in charge of Iran right now,
Which is who?
No one knows.
technically, Khamenei is the supreme leader,
But
but
he's in a coma.
yeah. So I mean, there are foreign ministers or whoever that are making these negotiations.
So when he wakes up, is he going to be like really ticked off?
No, because they won every bit of this negotiation. It is insane. It is really insane, actually. Here, I'm going to pull up all 10 points. Well, I'll just say this. If we claim to have won this war and have been winning this war like we have this whole time, the ceasefire would not look like this. Iran, I didn't see the full 10 points until this morning, and I literally laughed. I was like, this is embarrassing. So it first guarantees that Iran will not be attacked again. Excuse me. This is Iran's 10-point plan. We'll pull the actual one. Y'all talk while I find this.
So a non-aggression pact, compensation for war damage, and UN Security Council sanctions. I stopped writing after that because Iran is not trustworthy. But you are right. They got whatever they asked for. They got, it seems.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Well, okay. Here's the first part of it is that it guarantees that the Strait of Hormuz will stay under the control of Iran, and also that Iran could be doing tolls. And Trump, in an interview with ABC this morning, claimed that, well, we may be partaking in the tolls alongside them. And I believe his quote was, "It's a real beautiful thing." So it's real beautiful. The Strait of Hormuz was open before and had, free reign. There was no issues with the Strait of Hormuz before the war. So now it's a victory because Iran has full control over the strait and is having tolls to go into it. And that's a beautiful thing.
Is he saying we're going to take some of the money from the tolls? Like
Well,
what?
yeah,
how-
alongside them.
What does that mean? Alongside?
Like we're going to, I guess, be taking tolls with them.
Why would they? So now we're going to screw everybody else over and be really happy about it.
I guess so, yeah. But yeah, like I said, this is not a ceasefire that would be happening if we actually won the war, because it lifts all sanctions, like Ab said. They are allowed to enrich their uranium, which I thought the whole point of this was because of the uranium, and that we were actually maybe going to get boots on the ground to get the enriched uranium. But I believe it was phrased in there for their nuclear program.
Can you pull that up, like, so I can read it?
Yeah, I can't find a just set picture, but that video from Fox had all of it. So we may
maybe
just
pause it.
Yeah, we may just play the video again and then pause it when it brings that up.
Because I need to read this. I hadn't
10
seen
separate points. Some of them include the U.S. guaranteeing.
Okay, perfect. Can we bring it closer so I can
Yes,
see
Judy.
it?
Yes,
Okay.
Judy.
I actually can't zoom this one in, so I apologize.
Okay. So sure.
The The U.S. must fundamentally commit to guaranteed non-aggression, continuation of Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance that Iran can enrich uranium for its nuclear program, removal of all primary sanctions on Iran, removal of all secondary sanctions against foreign entities that do business with Iranian institutions.
What?
End of all UN Security Council resolutions targeting Iran. End of all international or IAEA resolutions on Iran's nuclear program, compensation payment to Iran for war damage, withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from the region, and ceasefire on all fronts, including Israel's conflict with Hezbollah and Lebanon.
This is basically, we do what we want.
We do what we want.
That's the name of this.
Is this winning?
It's not. So this is the ceasefire agreement for 2 weeks.
Just for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, allegedly.
But meanwhile, isn't Israel still bombing, and isn't Iran still bombing Tel Aviv?
As I understand.
Yeah, so last night, Iran started attacking Tel Aviv again. But yeah, this is a disaster. Like, we got nothing out of this ceasefire. But yeah, it is. If we were actually winning the war, we would have got something out of the ceasefire. Like
they basically said, "Hey, Trump, pound sand."
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
Which, by the way, Brad from Crimestone said, well, after hearing the first story in the montage, guess what I'm having for lunch?
Hot dogs.
Taco.
That's good.
First story, you're right.
Tell everybody one more time what taco stands for.
Taco stands for Trump always chickens out. So, yeah, like I said, it is for all the time of saying we were winning the war, where it's about to come to an end, yada, yada, yada. No, the Strait is under Iranian control. They're going to make so much money from tolling people to use the Strait to rebuild, and they're going to be allowed to continue to enrich their. This is just nothing but a win for Iran across all fronts.
We kill people when we want to. I mean, enrich uranium. Nobody can come at you, bro. You do what you want.
Why would that need to be? Okay. First of all, can we choose a different timeline than 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Like let's move on from 2 weeks, because I have a little bit of PTSD just anytime I hear that. But number two, if this is just for 2 weeks, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like, what can you get done on uranium in 2 weeks? Like, why would that be an important thing to put on there if this is just going to be a 2 week deal? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think.
Like, can you rush and finish it in 2 weeks?
Well, no, I think they're hoping if they set the precedent for that, like if you agree to that, then maybe the next.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're just giving them that.
Mm-hmm.
Why did we go there in the first place? Like, at all?
For the uranium, allegedly.
No, we went to free the Iranian people.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that was the original claim. Yeah.
And now I've heard no talk about how any of this is making the Iranian people safer, more free, better.
Trump was actually threatening to wipe out the entire civilization of Iran last night.
And here's the other part that dovetails in with this. I can't decide what Mark Levin thinks about all of this, because on the one hand, yesterday he's like, ugh! And then today he's like, what about the people? Like, he seems as schizophrenic as this whole situation. Like, we care about the people. We've said from the beginning, we care about the people. We don't know how you help that, but we care. But on the one hand, he is all pro-war. And then on the other, he's for the people.
Well, I think being, quote, for the people is actually still being pro-war, because what he's saying is we can't back out now. We can't have a ceasefire now. The people are not free. So clearly we have to continue bombing. So it's really, it sounds better, but it's really for the same thing.
One of my children has a good, I'm going to post that at the bottom there. You think that's true?
Couldn't have. Wait.
So one of my kids suggests, and I think this is something I hadn't thought of, Trump couldn't have bombed and done what he was saying he was going to do, which I don't think he ever planned to do, but he couldn't have done it. And if he did, he would have been subject to impeachment.
If you were to do the bombing.
Yes.
For war crimes?
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? That's interesting.
So this is actually what I was thinking is like Trump's claim of the art of the deal is always to take the maximal position and then work backwards. But typically that's to win negotiations. So it's funny because he took the maximal position of we're going to wipe out the entire civilization of Iran. And now, okay, what's the deal? What we got from that? Iran won everything.
Iran.
Sorry, I was trying to say Iran.
So
won.
weird.
Iran won everything in the proposal. So,
well, I think yes, he would have been impeached. If you saw yesterday on the Twix, there were some even Republican legislators saying, like, you can't do, like, they were already, even Republicans were starting to position themselves in that. But first of all, Iran is not stupid. They know that. They know those rules. They know, okay, come at me, bro. Then you're going to get impeached and our problems are solved because a Democrat will be put in power and we'll just hang out with them all day. But also, Trump is going to be impeached anyway. I know some polls and some approval ratings are looking a little better right now for Trump. But if we lose the midterms, they're coming after him for way lesser reasons. So I don't know. But yes, he definitely would have been impeached. So I don't know if anybody was buying what he was saying, but he's just unhinged enough to where he could be like, well, I'm going to be impeached anyway. So beep. And there were, y'all hadn't seen it, and maybe I made it up, but I don't think so, that B-52 bombers took off.
Yes, I saw that after the show. I saw that.
Well, and it was like, it's a 6-hour flight and they would have hit, they're right at 8 p.m. So maybe he almost did. I don't know. But whatever that list of 10 was not all that great. But maybe this is the plan. Can you do the plan? The plan is working beautifully.
This was all a part of the plan. We don't even need the Strait of Hormuz. We have our own strait. We're building a strait. We're building a strait.
That's good.
Trust
the plan.
Just trust the plan.
It's 5D chess. Yeah.
Y'all are panicking.
Wow, we're up. Yeah. Don't be a panicking.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
I'll just say
or a right-tard.
Yeah, we are right-tards. Right-tards. Don't listen to the right-tards.
Okay, we got to decide. Are we right-tards or like is Tucker a right-tard?
Tucker, definitely.
So we have libtards. They're the far left. And then you have Tucker, which is a right-tard, far right. And somehow, what is it? The horseshoe theory?
Horseshoe.
Yeah, like we're meeting back. We're on this. That's like when Thomas Massey and AOC end up voting for the same thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Before we go to break, I'll just say whoever convinced Trump or whoever his advisors were that got him to do this need to be fired with the Iranian war. It is just such a catastrophe on all fronts. I'll just say that.
But what's our solution? Just dip?
Well, okay. The right solution from all of this now is to mitigate damage control. Like, I honestly don't know, because if Iran's got control of the strait and we can't take it back, it seems. I don't know. Like, that's just, I don't know what sort of solution is other than to just dip out and get out as quickly and safely as possible, while also finding a way to declare victory from all of it, if you can somehow. I mean, the claim is that we wiped out their Navy and their ballistic missile, but it's just like, okay, that can get rebuilt eventually, and if you're allowing them to enrich their uranium as part of the ceasefire, then what's the victory in it? And the strait is controlled by Iran. Oh, but we can toll alongside Iran.
Whoa. Oh, okay. So are we in a better place than we were before the war? Like, I mean, and Trump posted about, he actually said regime change. Like, was the regime change that's happened now, is that a plus? Like, I don't know.
We got to see if these people are actually less radical or more radical. Because I wonder how you get less radical when we killed your religious leader and did all that we've done in Iran. I don't get how you can have a less radical regime for that. Maybe we do. I don't know, but we have to wait and see.
I'm pretty sure the women are still going to get beaten.
Probably.
So what are we doing?
On that note, we'll be right back.
Y'all have heard us talk about Inspire Advisors, how Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors will help you grow your investment portfolio while also screening out companies that don't stand for conservative Christian principles.
Paul and his team are experts on what they call biblically responsible investing. And for a limited time, they're hosting a free class that you can register for.
Check out the class and register for free at moneypatternwealth.com. It's godly, it's conservative, and it's financial freedom.
Again, go to Inspire Advisors at moneypatternwealth.com. Check them out and tell them you heard about them at Rightside. Conservative priorities rise naturally. What do you say to those criticizing you and the agenda of leadership? Because if you look, you have passed some really conservative things over the past quadrennium.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the record of this last quadrennium, I mean, it doesn't, just look at what's been passed. There's no question this is the most conservative quadrennium this state's ever had, period. If you look at my record as Speaker and Majority Leader, it's the most conservative the state's ever had. I mean, all you got to do is look at what we've passed. If it's DEI or if it's, the Choose Act or whatever, which we led the charge on helping getting that passed, it was a pick. And a lot of things Scott passed, the boys and girls bathroom thing. I mean, this has been the most conservative 4 years that we've had. And as far as the special interest group, they all stay in my office and they'd know more about what they're talking about. Because there was two of them in there Friday and I told them no. And one of them was Alpha on an ambulance bill that I think could serve rural Alabama very well. And the same thing with Blue Cross and those people. We tell them no more than we tell them yes. And so I think people that says that need to probably work a little bit harder to figure out what is going on, and they wouldn't have to make statements like that.
So then on the heels of that question, what did it mean to have 75 members of the House, Tuberville, support you?
It's humbling. I mean, it really is. I didn't ask for that. I mean, they did that on their own. And of course, Coach has been a friend of mine for a long time. I chaired his U.S. Senate race. And so, but to have that many members and Scott being one of them that signed that document, it was very humbling. I mean, it really was. And, the thing about it is, I think it's easy sometimes for people to say negative stuff about people they don't know. And the problem with that is it doesn't just affect the person you're talking about, it affects their family. Whether it's their grandkids or their wife or their kids. And sometimes I think we have to be mindful of that. So, to see after on the backside of it, to see that and to see our members come together and support me, it's really, really humbling.
It's hard. It is hard being on the outside. We're not privy to a lot of the discussions that are had in the halls. And hopefully this can be kind of a transition point of inflection for Alabama, for the legislature, for the party, for the people. And that's a question I have for both of y'all. Is this a turning point for the state of Alabama? It felt a little bit like crossing the Delaware. We were like, oh, we're in new territory. And then being here today, I mean, this is huge to see y'all sitting down together, kind of tackling this head on. I know the people of Alabama will appreciate that. But moving forward, and you mentioned a little bit plans to open up discussions. Can you expand a little bit more on that? How is this different, and how are we going to put this behind us?
Yeah, so I mean, our caucus has always been together, right? So we are a team. We're kind of like an executive session when we're in caucus. So the things that we discuss and things we talk about are with us and our team. As far as moving forward in the future, I think, with the party members of ALGOP and then our caucus, I mean, once again, we're all Republicans. We're all on the same team. Some of us serve at a different capacity than others. Some are more vocal than others in the party side. And we've got to respect different personalities. Y'all just had Ernie Yarbrough on the show, for crying out loud. He's a different personality, right? So he is very passionate about his beliefs. And you just got different, it's like a family, you've got different personalities in your family. And I think moving forward, I'm extremely excited about tomorrow. I really am, because I think it's going to be something that our state has never seen before. The leadership in this body and then also leadership in our party, we are literally going to bridge that gap that literally we have never seen before. And I just cannot wait till it happens.
So, staying with you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Just real quick. Sorry.
Next time we're going to be sure and get you a
You're like,
smaller
"Hey."
microphone.
That's okay.
The only thing that would have made it better is like a little fuzzy dice, making it look like that.
I think it's supposed to sit on top of it.
It is.
They're not that
And
fancy
Can y'all
yet
not
either.
afford those either,
Yeah,
man? Come on. I mean,
we can. This turned around so quickly, and we're so glad to be here that you gotta, we're making do.
yes.
Okay. These are awesome. I've always wanted these little lapel mics. I'm just saying. Why did you want to run for Algop chairman? Hello. Welcome back. You found the right side. I'm Amy Beth with Allison and JP. At 11:30, we have Troy Miller joining us. He wrote a great article, and it's Nation's Strength Grounded in Strong Families for Newsmax. We're going to discuss that. He is the president of the National Religious Broadcasters, an amazing guy. But before that, we have your favorite segment. Do you know what your favorite segment is? Hot Flash News. You ready, Sinclair?
But before that,
But before that,
she forgot what's before
I
that.
did. We have comments from you, and we
Yeah.
thank you for them. All right, JP.
if y'all watching the live stream, just feel free to comment on whichever stream you're watching, and we'll get to y'all's comments. We got this guy. This guy's name was my nickname for part of my childhood. Just in Time 1828 is this guy's name.
Love it.
Says, what happened to not negotiating with terrorists?
That's good.
Ooh. Well, that was a long time ago.
That
Kinda
ship
back
has
when
sailed.
we started marrying our cousins.
Just in time.
Travis Dunham, 1784 says, first time watching this show. I like it.
Thanks, Travis.
What's up, Trav dog?
What's up?
We got George Patton on Facebook with 2 comments.
No way.
Hey, George, I didn't know you were still here.
We are so
I'm
cool.
kidding.
He says it's Israel's war. We weaken them. They can take it from here. And then he also says, what world leader came to the White House, Mar-a-Lago, 7 times in 2025 to lobby for U.S.
Oh.
intervention in Iran?
Shame on us for not even bringing that up.
No,
You're right.
it's true.
You're right.
That would be BB.
Sorry. I know that's upsetting to some, but
BB baby.
It's true. Mark Marty says, have to disagree with y'all. Y'all don't see the big picture. Do more research than just headlines. Thanks.
we have. So why don't you tell us, because we really are interested, what is your opinion of the big picture? Genuinely,
It's
please tell
5D
us.
chess, obviously.
Well, like what?
No,
what-
I mean, what
Tell
are we
us.
missing? We always say that. Let me say that again, that in some of our commentary, we hope we're wrong because it's not good if we're right. So if we're missing something, genuinely, we'll
I mean,
read it.
because we've suggested and said we needed to have handled this back in 1978. We didn't. We have talked about, we understand that it's impacting China and Russia not being able to get to that oil. We understand that. We know that there were nuclear capabilities destroyed, and oops, we had to go back in and make sure that uranium enrichment didn't happen. We understand and have talked about regime change and the 84 leaders who decided that they weren't going to get bombed and then they all got wiped out. So we know about that, but mostly, what about the people who were being systematically murdered? And we haven't really talked about that at all. We haven't talked about the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, but to the countries in the Middle East. So that's important. But what else geopolitically do we need to cover? Because we would love to know from you what you think. And we really appreciate you reaching out, truly. Like, this is what makes it fun. So thank you.
Brad from Crimestone, he texted in and he said, let me get this straight. We attacked Iran to ensure that they cannot, or that they can continue to develop the nuclear weapon we said that they could never have. Definitely 4D chess.
Wait a second. Okay. So he's with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of
Okay.
seeing what we're seeing.
I agree with you, but there's the people who claim that there's something more to it. Like, yo, I'm getting it. Read past the headlines. They never offer anything up. So
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Please enlighten us. But everybody that has done that has gotten nothing.
I think it is hard to keep up with everything. I think things are happening very quickly. So it's possible we've missed something. But and it's kind of like why I said, what's our exit ramp? What's our solution from here? Because, yeah, if you want to say we're not on target, then just tell us how we're not, and
Yeah.
we can go from there.
It's a talk show. We can talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Ha. And also, are you a person who thinks Trump is having a permanent Taco Tuesday, or not, or is this way more Israel based, and we should be way more concerned, with that? We don't know. So please tell us, because we want to know. And we love y'all. This has been fun this week, interacting more with the text line.
I agree.
And with social media. And I'm glad that you two remembered that we hadn't done that. And that's important. Brad from Crimestone, thank you for your consistency and your big words.
And you know what is fun? There are a lot of names that I don't recognize.
I know.
We like new people.
Yeah.
Hot flash news. This is a good segue. I've got a few little. What? Oh, yeah. We saw her last night.
We did.
Y'all did. I did. No.
Excuse me.
She was. So we can confirm she is alive. She is alive.
She's alive. She had red on. She looks pretty.
Maybe.
No, I mean, she got out of the hospital. She was sitting down, but she was there. She had on her red.
Could have been a clone
Mm-hmm.
or a mask. Am I wearing a mask?
She was just sitting there. She wasn't there very long, but she was a little feeble.
She was there, but that's about it.
Look, I was tired too.
Me too.
Do you realize how long we stood last night?
Yeah.
My feetsies were a little hurty.
Were they?
Yeah. But it was worth it. It was fun. Okay. So just real quickly, as I was going back to pull up my hot flash news, a few things popped up on my timeline. So I tagged those because they have to do with what we're talking about. I guess the toll for the Strait is $1 per barrel, paid in crypto or Chinese yuan, not US dollars. And so that 20% of that means they just created a $20 million a day revenue stream out of a waterway it doesn't own and a war it didn't start as leverage. That's no bueno. I don't know how to say that in Arabic, or what do they speak? I don't know. They speak something.
Probably Arabic.
Iran
Farsi.
warns, this is 2 hours ago, the United States, it will be treated as a direct party to any Israeli attack and vow decisive response. So at this point, they're not just a backer of Israel. They are now one with Israel. So if Israel decides to bomb Iran during the ceasefire, well, I guess we're going down too.
And what's another ironic part about this is, Trump is constantly bashing Obama and the JCPOA because he gave Iran so much money, and now Iran has got the perfect revenue stream from all of this and is going to be raking in cash.
Yep.
So,
and Nick Sorter is reporting that the Strait has already been halted. Nothing is going through after Iranians accuse Israel of breaking the ceasefire.
So
well,
the country that got 1.7 billion in cash, or 4.7 from Obama?
I was 1.7.
Okay, 1.7 billion in cash from Obama. They're not trustworthy. They do want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. We probably got lured into this. And now we're just supposed to trust them that, hey, we're going to make a revenue stream off the Strait of Hormuz, and just trust us. We're not going to build any kind of weapons. Like, we're not going to enrich uranium, but trust us. And we're going to treat our people great. Like, this is bananas. This whole thing is bananas.
If I could reach my tinfoil hat for what I'm about to say, I
I'm
would
going to grab it.
Grab it.
Well, it's right behind me. I don't know whose that is.
That's mine.
Okay, where's mine? Oh, there's mine.
I don't know.
All right. Just
here. It just dawned
we
on
listen
me.
and we don't judge.
This is if I were a crazy right-tard conspiracy theorist, which I'm not ever. Duh. I would say, how Tim Burchett always talks about, and I think it's true, that we're funding the Taliban. We are sending money.
I agree. I
Do you know
agree with
where I'm
that.
going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, is that what this is all about? Some backdoor way to continue to fund terrorists and the enemies? I mean, $20 million a day to our enemies, the people we say we hate, the people that are destroying America. What, you don't just stumble into $20 million a day.
I see where you're going. I don't think this is that. I think this was a genuine blunder.
Well, it's a bigly blunder.
It would be an extremely impressive 5D chess to fund our terrorists, though. I will say that. But I think it was a genuine miscalculation.
What I would like to know is, what does Mike Benz say about this?
Mikey.
I'm interested in his take, because he was, with the government, became a whistleblower. He brings the receipts. The same thing with Data Republican with the small r. She's also a researcher extraordinaire, because Mike Benz was the first one to suggest the whole funding terrorist organizations around the world. He was the one to suggest the CIA being involved, the origins of the CIA, and what the CIA has been involved with. What if the CIA did make sure this festered so that we had to come in? I don't know.
I threw my hat too soon.
But it is interesting to consider why. So many questions. I'm going to have to do some research.
Here's the thing. Maybe Trump was just a pawn. He was just a piece of the game. But the CIA and the deep state were coordinating this whole thing to continue to fund. I mean, I sound crazy. Look, y'all, I'm halfway kidding, because that's a lot of lives. Like, if we're playing this game we really don't care about life, which we don't. But just dawned on us.
Like JP said, it is just a genuine blunder. I don't understand why he would act like he wants to go buy the farm, and then it looks like he bought it and sold it and kicked it.
This was Israel convincing Trump, after he was feeling himself after the Venezuelan operation, to achieve all of the objectives that help Israel. And we miscalculated the straight aspect and their ability to close it. And now we're fumbling, backtracking, freaking out, panicking, and we're sucked into it. Meanwhile, Israel got the ballistic missiles of Iran, extremely hurt, allegedly. They're still firing a lot of them. So that's what that was. And even Trump himself and Rubio, they said we had to help our allies. They've said that our allies in the Middle East needed our help. This was for them. So I think that's what this was.
Who's the guy that texted in and said we're just reading the headlines?
Mark Marty.
Okay, Mark Marty might have an answer to this.
He does not. He actually said, I can't put in the words the right way, but go and check out the podcast that they're on top of everything that's going on. Thanks.
What podcast?
I don't know. He didn't say.
Okay. Well, the podcast, that would be helpful. But anyway, okay. Well, moving on. We'll watch this unfold. Either way, I hope there's a plan. I really do. And that's the thing. Like, I don't want it to be like we're against Trump. Trump has done some great things. Could you imagine where we would be if the alternative were in power? But we will also call out when we kind of don't understand, at least have a discussion about it, and maybe disagree with some of the ways. Apparently, the New York Times is reporting that J.D. Vance is very much against and pushing back what is happening. So there are even people in his inner circle that are going like,
guys, I love y'all. I'm going to go read up and listen to Mike Benz. No, I'm going to listen to Mike Benz and Data Republican, because I don't like not understanding.
Will you report back?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Until then, the Senate confirms, this is by Caleb Taylor, the Senate confirms Carol Smitherman, wife of State Senator Roger Smitherman, who's a Democrat, to the Alabama Ethics Commission.
Okay. That's a couple that's been around a really long time.
Do you know who appointed her?
Who?
Will Ainsworth.
Huh. Okay. Was she filling a seat? Filling a spot?
It said Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth appointed Carol Smitherman to the commission. Smitherman said during a confirmations committee meeting on Tuesday, I look forward to this opportunity. We take the law very seriously. You have my commitment that I will do a very good job. The Senate also confirmed David Pruitt, who I don't know, to the Alabama Ethics Commission on Tuesday. He is the appointee of House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter. And the Senate also confirmed former Vestavia Hills Councilman George Pierce to the Alabama Ethics Commission. He was the appointment by Governor Ivey. Okay. Just real quickly, I don't know why. Maybe, okay. Well, what do y'all think about that?
Carol's been a judge for a long time, right?
I don't know what she does.
I think she's a judge. So your question is about her being appointed or about all of them and their appointments?
Well, I just was surprised to read that Will Ainsworth appointed a Democrat to the commission. But I'm going to pause and remember two things. Number one, this is why these your lieutenant governor and some of these offices are so important. Even your state auditor, your state secretary of state. I mean, they have these appointments. They matter. People forget about the appointments. But they also have all this DEI minority requirements as well. So maybe that is why. But otherwise, like, not that Democrats can't be ethical, but you're a like, why? I just was kind of surprised by that. And I'm guessing the Ethics Commission is supposed to be nonpartisan. Fine. But I just was surprised. I don't know anything about the other two. And is that a conflict of interest when your wife is on the Ethics Commission and you are one of the most powerful? I mean, Smitherman is one of the Democrats that holds up the entire Senate because of the rules. Is that a conflict of interest?
From what I know of the Smithermans, it seems like she would be somebody you could trust to do a good job on the ethics committee because she's been around for a long time. But I also don't understand what the requirements are. If it's supposed to be bipartisan and balanced, okay. But I still don't understand what we want to do with the ethics committee or commission in general.
So she's retired Democrat Jefferson County Circuit Court judge, and their daughter, Crystal Smitherman, is a Birmingham City Councilwoman right now.
Interesting.
I don't know.
More than anything, like, I'm glad we have an ethics commission, but people seem to get in trouble a lot and then we don't do a whole lot about it. So I don't really know.
Ethics commission is not very ethical.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing with that? I don't know. But from what I know of Carol as a judge, from my friends who are attorneys in Birmingham, she's very fair.
Pick.
She's a good pick. But I don't understand the whole deal. I don't have a full understanding.
What if you have to investigate your husband or your daughter?
I would hope she would recuse herself.
She would recuse herself. She's apparently very fair. So okay. I don't know, but interesting. We should ask Will about that when he comes on for Wednesdays with Will.
Yeah, he would have
Hey, Will, did you know you're coming on for Wednesdays with Will?
That is what I like about Will is, like, even if you disagree with him, he'll be like, yeah, I mean, this is why I did it.
Mm-hmm.
So what? That's the way it should be, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. In Nashville.
Yes.
In Nashville, Overton High School in Nashville changes its entire bell schedule to work around Muslim students being able to pray during Ramadan.
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
So it begins.
And so it begins. What happened to separation of church and state?
JP, now you're meddling.
Wait, it's a bad thing to have 10 commandments in school. It's a bad thing to have prayer in schools, but working your schedule around prayer for Ramadan, that's okay.
Absolutely not. That is a hard pass. I hope parents raise Cain about this.
That's good. I ate there last night.
All right. Really? Let me read. I haven't read this part, but let's keep going.
Okay.
This was one of the several accommodations arranged by arranged by the administration for Muslim students. The school has also reserved space on campus where students can pray in the afternoon, since one of the 5 daily prayers falls during the school day. Hagen Gruber created a sign-up sheet for students to receive electronic hall passes, granting them permission to leave class for 15 minutes to pray. More than 80 students signed up.
Tennessee, I hope you voted against cousin marriages.
I mean, I guess, can you identify as Muslim and just get out of class for a
Yes,
little
you
bit?
can.
How can they tell you you're not? Well, I don't know. That probably is not. That's probably frowned upon.
Yeah, that's ironic. I genuinely hope parents freak out, rightfully so.
I don't know. I can't tell which school. It was just a clip of the article. I'd have to go back and look at the article. It might be a private school. In which case,
What's
I
the name
guess
of the
they
high
can
school
do-
again, my friend?
Well, I don't know. That's what it didn't say.
Okay, it's all right.
Look up
Overton County.
Overton County.
Where is Overton County in Tennessee, by the way?
It's over there.
Okay.
It's in Overton County, JP.
I've actually never heard of Overton County. Do you see it? I'm guessing it's in West Tennessee somewhere.
Was it Livingston Academy?
Well, it's got to be, it's in Nashville, but I don't know. Probably North Nashville.
That's outrageous.
While you look that up,
do you have more bad news?
Do you know who Edward Buckbee is?
No.
I didn't either, but he was the Space Camp founder and he died.
Oh, Allison, with your space camp dreams. I'm
Yeah.
sorry for Mr. Buckbee's family.
Mr. Buckbee. He came to Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville after graduating from West Virginia University School of Journalism. He was appointed NASA's public affairs officer by Dr. Warner von Braun.
Ooh.
Space Camp began in 1982 after a conversation between von Braun and Buckbee. Over 1 million participants of Space Camp have emerged with a love for space. Oh! Christina Koch, the Artemis II crew member, went to Space Camp. Huh.
By the way, it was John Overton High School, and it is a public school.
Ah, frick.
Okay. Y'all are going to have to make that make sense.
Thank you for that.
But it is Metro Nashville, which is liberal. So that makes sense, probably.
Oh, so it's not Overton County.
No, John Overton was the high school.
Okay, because
John
I'd
Overton.
never heard of Overton County.
John Overton High School, Metro Nashville. So that kind of tracks.
Well, my next 2 stories were about Marshall and I about said Brooks.
Yeah.
Where would I get Mo Brooks? What's wrong with my brain? Barry Moore. And they're kind of like defending crypto money, and then Steve Marshall kind of coming out saying out of state money is bad. I know we want to have a bigger conversation about that, but it's almost time for a break, and then we have a guest. So what do y'all want to do?
Well, we can, after we have our guest, do you want to go back to that conversation
Yes.
and finish the day with it, please?
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good.
Those are important articles because it's part of our campaign to read past the headlines, like our friend online said.
Mark Marty
says read past the headlines, and he is right. But for this discussion, we not only have to read beyond the headlines, we have to dig in.
He also suggested we listen to the Patriot source.
Oh, all right.
The Patriot source.
Okay.
Can you put that
on? I volunteer
Mike
to tribute.
Benz and the Patriot
I'm your
source.
lady.
Well, since I don't hear the music yet.
Yes, ma'am.
20 seconds.
Read fast.
Allegedly, apparently, and unfortunately, Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel
Yep.
and New York Times NFL reporter Diana Rossini were seen holding hands, hugging, and spending time together in Sedona, Arizona. But the problem is they're both married.
Oh, me, oh, my.
Yeah.
You don't say.
They were on a private rooftop.
Oops.
But it's not very private because it has glass walls.
Pick better, guys.
So
you're going to sin like that.
I don't, the glass walls maybe go somewhere a little less glassy. All
Do
right.
not throw stones from a glass house. Is that what they say?
So it did not make much sense right there. And I really hope Troy Miller is not watching right now.
He's not.
Okay, we'll be back with Troy Miller and very serious news.
JP here with Rightside. I need to remind you that Inspire Advisors is one of our sponsors, and they are doing amazing work. We know this audience, and you're the kind of folks who believe in standing up for your principles and being good stewards of your resources. What if the companies you're invested in don't reflect your values at all? That's why you need to meet Paul Breyer and his team at Inspire Advisors. Inspire Advisors, they are experts in the field of biblically responsible investing. They can help you grow your bottom line while also being proud of what companies you invest in. Inspire Advisors, you got to go check them out. Here's their website, www.moneypatternwealth.com, and tell them you heard about it on Rightside Radio.
So it never was on my radar, to be honest. I don't personally believe in titles. I believe in making an impact, the biggest impact I can. And there were certain things that took place after several phone calls and laying in bed. My wife and I were just talking about, and you know, your spouse is your best friend, and you talk about things with her. And she looked and she said, I think you would be a really good party chairman. Like, that's in your wheelhouse. And I was like, I think I would like that, you know, and prayed about it. And honestly, once I decided to run, and literally everything was falling in place, you know, and that's why I feel like when you're on God's path, things just naturally happen. You're not fighting against the grain on things. But that's really it. It wasn't on my radar whatsoever. And when we decided to do it, everything just literally fell in place. And I knew it was God's plan for me to do this.
I guess we touched a little bit about some of the things that under your leadership have happened in the House: tax cuts, school choice, tough on crimes law, DEI bans, transgender sports ban. Am I missing anything else?
China. You're missing a lot. Yeah. We've been property from, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
So do you feel like some people in Alabama have lost sight in all the hubbub and all the chatter that's going on? And what are your priorities for the rest of this session? And maybe, I know y'all plan ahead. It catches me off guard every time. Like, if we're not planning 2 years ahead, y'all have beat us in our, you know, kind of what we want to lobby for in Montgomery. What do you see coming next quadrennium as well?
Yeah, I think you're right. First of all, the first part of your question, I think, you know, it's almost because of the social media and the world we live in today, it's changed. It's almost about what we've done today instead of what we've done over the past quadrennium. And Scott's right. I mean, if you Google the most conservative legislative body in the country, it's going to come up Alabama's number one. And it's because of the bills that you mentioned, a lot of them. I mean, the tax cuts has been $1.5 billion in the last 4 years alone. We've had a tax cut in every session. We got one this session on overtime. So, I mean, it's been a good 4 years. Our body has worked extremely hard. We got good men and women that serve. And Scott was talking about the reason he run for the chairman. I mean, the reason I got in leadership was because we were going through the turmoil when I first got elected, as you remember, with the Hubbard and all that went on with him and the governor and even the Supreme Court justice. That was all at one time within a few months of each other. So the reason I ran at the time is because some of the best people I had ever met, I served with in the House of Representatives. And I thought, you know, if we can give them a platform where we can show the kind of people they are and let people know we serve with good people, and we really do. I mean, Scott and I are both the same way. I mean, there's not a place that I go in this state that I can't pick up the phone and say, listen, my car is broke down. Can you come and help me? And I promise you, within just a period of time, you'd have help from somebody. So that was my intent in getting in and running for leadership to begin with. So I think those people are still serving. You know, some of the faces change as we go forward. But, you know, our state has been blessed. I mean, we have had the most successful run in economic development in the state's history. You know, we're in the top 5 in shipbuilding, automobiles, airplanes, and now being a Lawston and with the submarine. I mean, we've never seen that before. Research, we're in the top 5. Agriculture, we're actually number 2. I mean, our state is moving at a pace that we have never seen before. And I think sometimes we always wonder what we can do next. But I think we also got to look back and celebrate what we have done too.
So let's talk, because it's happening very soon. The closed primary bill came through Matt Simpson's committee. What is the bill exactly, and what are the plans for it?
Yeah, I don't mind talking on this one at all. I think I'll let you talk about the plans for it, and I'll just kind of discuss. So I watched it because we had a public hearing last week. Ernie Arborough is a sponsor, and I think it's time. It's time for us to pick our party lines and pick your teams and support your teams and vet the people that are going to be a part of your team, right? So right now, if you're a Democrat, you can literally you can participate in our primaries if you want to, right? Basically, if this bill becomes law, when you go and when they ask you after your driver's license, your valid driver's license at the poll.
Welcome back. You found the right side. I am Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair and JP. We are thrilled to be joined again by Troy Miller, who is the president and CEO of the National Religious Broadcasters. Mr. Miller, how are you today?
I'm doing well today. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are so thankful to have you back on. I was taking a look at your article that you wrote for Newsmax. Can't wait to talk about that. But Allison, you had a question.
Well, I just want to know how the convention went. It looked like we missed out on a lot of fun. There were so many great broadcasters, a little fangirlish. So how was it? And next year, can you go ahead and sign up for us to be there next year, or is it too early?
No, it's not too early yet, but look, NRB 2026 was outstanding. We had a great week. We had a record number of attendance for Nashville. So, our feedback has been from everybody. Yeah, if you missed it, you missed just a really great time to sharpen your communication skills, your broadcasting skills, podcasting, whatever it is. We had a whole stage dedicated to AI and all the things that are going on there. And so we just couldn't be more pleased with what God gave us for that outcome.
Real quickly, what are the dates for next year?
We're penciling them in.
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot.
Okay, I'll Google
the
it.
dates for this year. I know we're in Washington, D.C., and I believe it's the 19th through the 23rd in Washington, D.C. But you can find out for sure. Check me on nrb.org, ORG. We'll be announcing very soon when registration is going to open. We actually finished up NRB 2026, and 2 weeks later, we were already in planning sessions for NRB 2027.
Oh, wow.
Never ends.
No, it never ends.
Well, we're marking our calendar.
Okay, it's done.
We had FOMO.
We did.
And you didn't help. You're like, it was the greatest thing ever.
We missed. Well, thank you for coming back on with us again. We wanted to talk about your article, and I think your last statement that the strength of our republic begins at home is critical. You have encouragement in your article from an unlikely, well, maybe not unlikely area. But first, I would love to cover why, because some of your statistics were really interesting. Why is the American family in decline?
Well, look, we're not doing a lot in our society to support the American family. Unfortunately, we've had a number of government policies over the last several decades that really have discouraged the family. And so that's one thing. The other thing is, if you look at culture itself, and especially the entertainment world and the pop culture, that so many people try to imitate and follow, the culture itself has really demeaned the family and downplayed its importance in society. So those are two things that are heavily working against us on the family side. On the good side, I think we're seeing a real resurgence, especially in the church, with a focus on family. We've seen a number of things this Easter, especially with families coming back to church in record numbers. So we have some positive, but we also have a pretty big uphill battle to go through.
You mentioned that, you talked about the importance of a married home versus single parent home. And one of the things that struck me, which is obviously going to be a consequence of a single parent home, but this is chronic loneliness. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, and that's a major problem in our culture today, especially in the younger generations. They've reported in statistic after statistic, study after study, loneliness is one of the top things that people under 30 report as how they feel, how every day of their life they go through. It's this loneliness of feeling. And look, the family, but not just to have a family with a mother and a father in there, but families that operate strongly as a family, families that get down and have dinner together, families that do Bible studies, families that pray together, families that go to events together and get together with the broader family unit. You know, I remember growing up, my grandmother was kind of the patriarch of our family, and every holiday and at least once a month, you know, you would go to her house and it would be full of, you know, cousins and aunts and uncles and all kinds of people. And so you had that very sense of family and community. And we've just lost that even within our families that are still intact and together. People have lost that sense of community, really that deep sense of community you can only get from those family relationships.
I think this makes sense if the broader picture of you're watching Marxism, socialism, communism just infiltrate not only the left, but you see some soft sides of that coming out even from conservatives. What you have to do to institute those policies is break down the family, is break down faith in God. But what's been interesting is to watch, like even Laura Trump, she was on Fox News recently talking about how she experienced infertility because everybody, you know, it was hard for her to have children because everybody said, you got to go be a girl boss. You got to go out in the world, forget your family, you know. And so we're seeing a little bit of a reverse in even on the right, kind of catching ourselves and returning to the family unit. How big do you think we're starting to wake up to that Marxist kind of communist push, or do we still need a little bit more of a flashing light like, hey, this is happening?
No, especially in our institutions, I think we need that flashing light, that siren to go off in the institutions that are, you know, many of them are still pushing these Marxist kind of communism, you know, ideologies out there. But in individuals in society itself, I think we're also just reaping, you know, the downside of secularism, you know, where it's the me society and we're the consumer society, and it's all about me, you know. And we see that 40 years of that kind of thought, and now we have social media that exaggerates that even more because everybody has to keep up with this sort of individual, emphasis to say, am I keeping up with, you know, Susie or Johnny or whoever in my circle? Am I being advanced? Am I moving in my career? Am I doing the things that they're doing? So it's that whole me society. But look, we're starting to see a rejection of that because we're starting to see people saying there's really has to be something more to life than just about me trying to climb the corporate ladder or trying to pursue all of my pleasures. And so that's something that I think is very hopeful for us.
I totally agree with that it is hopeful, because for Allison and I, we experienced in reverse. I think we both thought we would go to work first, and we had our families young, and we're working the second half of our being a mother is a job, and it is such an important job. But working in reverse, because now we don't ever have to worry about who's going to watch the kids, who's going to we were there with them. And so we really resonate with what you're saying about being the matriarch of our family, those family meals, intentional family gatherings, making sure that we're doing things as a family outside the home. Those things all matter. And the less they happen, the more you see that young families are going, wait a minute, I think what our mom and dad tried to tell us does matter. Now, in your article, you mentioned that bright spot, which is Gen Z and the young men. Tell us about that. That was extremely encouraging.
Yeah. And so look, again, in study after study now, we're seeing the Gen Z young men. I think is the group that's waking up the most. Not only have we seen them come back to conservative values and say, I really want to be married, I want to be a father, this is important to me, but we're also seeing them come back to faith. They're leading the movement back into church. Young men this last year have accounted for almost, I think the last number I saw was almost a 40% growth in the Gen Zers going back to church. So it's exciting to see that. And I think what we're starting to see is just a rejection of societal, what we might say, pop culture norms today. People are feeling like there's got to be something more to life than just this, than just trying to pursue all of these earthly pleasures or this career. There has to be more to this. Our two recent studies, a Pew study that we were part of, and as well as a Barna study we did last year, showed both that young adults are moving back in. They have a hunger for Christian media, and that is a bright spot.
Thank you again for joining us today. Before we go, where can people go to read your article and follow along with you? Because you are constantly writing, you do a lot of media appearances, you're kind of involved with everything. You're somebody that I'm very thankful to know now. We're going to do lots of fun things together. But how can people follow along with you and also read this article that you just wrote about the family?
Yeah, you can find a link to this article at nrb.org. As well as all of the other things that we're working on up on Capitol Hill and the regulatory environments and the courts and all of those different areas. And as you said, you can find the dates for the next NRB convention and all our social media handles.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, stay in touch. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. And if we don't talk, we'll talk to you before, but we will register. You said in the next few weeks, we need to set an alarm or something.
I will.
Okay. Or we'll have Grace text us.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
There you go.
Thank you so much. It's great to talk to you again.
He is great.
I wanted to ask about the Navy hat behind him. Did you see the Navy? No, it wasn't the color Navy. It was like
the Navy.
Navy.
Yeah.
Well, he's still there if you want to ask him.
Oh,
he just left.
Oh, he
just left right when I said that.
He's gone.
He is great. And I'm thankful to our friend Grace for putting us in touch with somebody like him, because it is very important. If you grew up listening to radio, you grew up hearing about the National Religious Broadcasters Association. They've changed their name, but they've had an impact worldwide for the sake of the gospel in providing great content for believers. But I love the article he wrote. I think it provides interesting perspective on what's going on in the family, that loneliness that we know people feel. And probably even just you bringing in Laura Trump's story about that pressure to work, and our story and being in reverse. And that's probably something we need to explore, that space.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation because it's so antithetical to, in a lot of ways, like having to rethink through the way we view women and working and families. But it's one that we have to have. And I think I love that we are starting to talk about. For a while, I felt like having a family was almost something to be ashamed of. Like if you had more than the 2.54 average children of Americans, you were kind of weird. And I feel like that's shifting a little bit. And everybody's going, wait a second, maybe that really is what it's all about. It's the only thing that matters. I'm guessing, on your deathbed, you're probably not like, I wish I had had fewer kids or spent less time with my family,
I do
So
know.
maybe that's like your soul saying this is what you should be spending time on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I think with my generation, we may be reaching that conclusion a lot sooner, but also harder because of these. I think just in general with the technology and everything that's wrong with social media. But I think we're having to reach that conclusion a lot sooner because the depression rates and the issues in my generation causes a lot of people to go on their knees in a way that is not very fun, but also sets up us for the rest of our lives. But I think our generation's having to reach that a lot sooner than probably older generations because of just what has been thrown on with technology. So it could be a blessing, but also there's a lot of, like he said, people that are lonely and struggling because of these. Yeah, it's an issue, but
yeah,
maybe we're hitting the reset button.
Hopefully.
I hope so. I hope so. So here's something where we need to hit the reset button.
It's a good segue.
That was good.
Let's have a moment for that. I'm kidding.
She's not very right-tard.
Can you be more right-tardish?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So here's where we're going to hit the reset button. We're going to hit the reset button on this idea that if you have money and if you give to campaigns and if you do well, you're bad. Or giving money to campaigns at all, that's bad. Or having Christians involved in various organizations, that's bad. Why wouldn't we want to have a seat at the table when it comes to your civil magistrate or even large organizations? George Soros is having a seat at the table. He's made a ton of money and he used it for evil and not good. So why won't we encourage one another to work as hard as we can for the people who are gifted at making money and sharing what they have? God says that. But we give not under compulsion, but because we are prompted to. Why is that wrong? Because it seems, especially in Republican circles, but I've noticed this conversation happening really over the whole political season. But especially now, people are talking about it, and I still can't wrap my head around what's bad about people who have the ability to give for giving. Why is that bad?
Well, I've got a non-political thought first that I think it was Dave Ramsey who actually explained it in the best way I've heard, talking about Christians and money and if it's wrong for Christians to have money. How are we able to give to others if we don't have ourselves? How are we able to help others, not only just financially, but just with wealth, if we don't have anything to give? If we are in a situation to where we're not financially smart or have money ourselves, then we can't help anybody around us. We can't actually give the way God wants us to give if we don't have it in the first place. So there's a difference between having money and the worship and love of money. I think the Bible talks about the love of money. Money is not the end all be all, because if you're constantly needing another, zero in that bank account, or you're needing more money, then that's your God. And that's a God that can never fulfill you. But if your God is Jesus and is in the correct, spot, you can use money to give to others the way that God wants us to. So just from a non-political overall Christian standpoint, there's a difference between having money and worshiping money. I think if you have money, you can use it and to help others like how God calls us to.
Good point. Very good. He did say that well. Imagine that. The guy who knows a lot about money. What do you think?
I think we talking about political season. I think regarding politics, it's funny to watch people criticize wealthy people, or even, it's mainly, they don't criticize the non-wealthy people for contributing to politics. The people that give $25 to a candidate, that's really sweet because they're giving a lot of so that's okay. But if you're really wealthy and you give to a candidate, it seems like that's bad. And you are controlling the outcome. Well, I would argue it's probably just because they're giving to a candidate that you don't like or is not you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I don't think that the bottom line is every state, even the country, even the globe has political power players that have a ton of money, a ton, and they are going to interact in politics. There's nothing wrong with that. You might not like it, there are people on the right that get a ton of money from these donors that they're not who I'm supporting, but to go after them and say that it's evil or wrong just because you're not supporting that political candidate is really dumb.
And a little bit envious.
It's envious, and it's hypocritical. I think what they're getting to, and let me just read. Okay, this is Daniel Taylor. That Steve Marshall had an event the other night, and from the podium, he is going on. He said that out-of-state billionaires are trying to influence the election. And this is what Steve Marshall said, quote, "They hate that I can't be bought or controlled. They hate the results that we've achieved. And so now these out-of-state interests are trying to stop it. If you want proof that we've been effective, just look at the millions of dollars they've spent attacking me and to prop up one of my opponents. You don't draw that kind of fire unless they're scared, and they know you've been effective." So he's talking about Barry Moore, who his campaign has been Club for Growth, all at crypto, all these have given a ton of money, and they are attacking. We covered the ad that they're attacking Steve Marshall with. Well, Steve's saying, I can't be bought with outside money. Well, is out-of-state money inherently bad? Like, what if your best friend owns a company or they live in Pennsylvania? Your family's in Pennsylvania. Is out-of-state money from Pennsylvania, your family is obviously going to support you. Is that inherently bad? Or is it inherently bad when you get over the $25 mark? Like, where do you draw the line of where it's too much control? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that was Steve Marshall. Barry Moore put out, hold on, where'd it go? He's being attacked because he's taking crypto money. Fair Shake gave him a ton of money. But again, 1819, let's see, this was Daniel Taylor again. He says that it says Fair Shake, this is what Moore said. Fair Shake is a crypto group, and what they do is they support candidates that believe in no central bank. Okay, no CBDC. In other words, the central bank digital currency is the biggest threat we have to your finances and my finances. So what we've been saying is no, we don't need the federal government controlling currency. And he goes on to say, when Trump left Washington, D.C. in 2020, the entire Trump family was debanked by the big corporate banks. They went to crypto to pay their people and to pay their bills. They had to go to blockchain to do that. So I have been one of those people who are like, no, the federal government does not need to have their hand in that. So do you see what I'm saying? It's like two sides. I guess maybe we need to have the conversation of like, don't jump too fast to a conclusion just because a candidate is taking a lot of money or I don't know, but the accusations that are being thrown out towards all these campaigns, I'm guessing if you were getting the crypto money, you'd be like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate the hypocrisy in it because people want to frame things as, oh, they're working with this person. That's bad. Well, no. Now, if you are elected, you take all this cryptocurrency and you are the next senator and you go start legislating on behalf of crypto only, and you throw the American people under the bus for crypto, okay, I have a problem with that. But even last night at the event, we were talking, I won't say who, but we were laughing because one person was like, yeah, I take their money, but then I just vote no against them. And these two opposite sides were standing there and they're like, ha, 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 ha. So can you take money from these entities and still not do their bidding? That's really the question. Can you take the money from the big donors like you're talking about and still vote independently for the people you represent?
You should be able to technically. What we know is that many people cannot, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be a possibility. Money fuels politics. Money is power. So if you are in politics and you are being given money by powerful people, we shouldn't be afraid of that. somebody's going to have a seat at the table. It might as well be us. It might as well be believers or people who may not be believers, but they're like-minded with you, because you're going to need their support when you're in elected office. So this idea that that's bad, that somebody has a lot of money, what you're really suggesting is that they will be corrupted by it. That is fair. That is an acknowledgement of the state of the human heart. That's true. This is where the faith element comes in and accountability, because you have to have that too, in my opinion. But we cannot continue to throw stones. If you're running for office and you're getting money from people, and you're right, I've got family all over the country, and you're getting it from them, should you have to say, I got that from a great sister, Aunt Esther, and she's out in California? Is that bad? I mean, it's just back to what you're saying. People are going to give money. That is how you get elected. We recognize the human heart is wicked above all else. But does that mean that it is I can't find the word, hypocritical? It's hypocritical, and we need to stop. It sounds envious. You sound jealous. You sound petty when you complain about the donations people get. Maybe, just maybe, we give to people because we align with their beliefs. We align with their message. And maybe, just maybe, we should examine our own message or our own presentation and think maybe mine could be better. Instead of being jealous and envious, maybe you hone your message. Maybe you hone your presentation and stop throwing stones. Maybe.
Yeah.
I ran for office. So I know what I'm talking about. I did this 13 years ago. I've been there. I've done that. Maybe if you just focused on yourself and what you were saying and trying to get out and not worry about all the other things, you'd be fine and we'd all be better for it.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Allison. I think there's a difference if you're running for office and you're like for example, anti-gambling to a T, and then you get like $10,000 from the Porch Creeks, and then the next day you're like, we should have a casino on every corner in the state. Like, there's that. There's a difference though. You can spin everything however you want to spin it. If just simply off the basis of somebody you're running against has donations and more money than you have, and you can spin that to say that you're being pushed out just because they are being given more money. That's exactly what Ab said. I think it's just kind of jealous, and you're not saying anything about you. Okay, so if you got this great message, and then why aren't you getting the money? And what is your message? Tell me your message, instead of saying that just because other candidates have money and you're trying to say that that's the reason you're being kept out. I don't know. You're not saying anything about you. You're just kind of whining at that point, in my opinion. So like I said, there's a difference if somebody is spewing certain things that align with the special interests that are giving them money. That's one thing. But just because candidates or certain people in office are being given money, that within itself is not a crime. And if you're using that to cry or whatever, then you're not like, what's your point,
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. There's a difference between the two.
And it's all relative. I mean, say you're a candidate that has $100 million in the bank, and 10% in your account, 10% came from one organization, versus a candidate that has $100,000 in the bank and 10% came from one individual donor. Well, what's to say if you happen to get elected and you only have $100,000 that you're not going to do the bidding of the 10%er? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's really just kind of like a jealousy thing. Like, I'm mad you have more money than me because your message or you've worked hard. I don't know what it is, but you can still do the bidding of people that only give $10,000. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, you can.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was a heavy one to end on. It's good.
Interesting.
I won't be here tomorrow. I gotta go get my hair done.
Oh, well, we'll end on a would you rather. Would you rather get 10,000 from the Porch Creeks or 10,000 from the? I was kidding.
That's good. You know what? in some ways, I'd like to say, if you want to give me money, you can give me money. I'm still not going to do what you tell me to do.
It's my favorite.
So
right
just
there.
know that, but you can give me money. That's, I think, what I would say.
It's the right thing to say.
Yeah.
If more people did that, we'd be great. And we know some people who do, and we say bravo to you.
Okay. Y'all have fun tomorrow without me.
We'll miss you.
I will miss y'all.
We'll miss you.
I'll probably
miss
call in, stop by. If I
Okay.
get done early, I'll come see y'all.
Okay, that'd be great.
All right. See you tomorrow.